Hi, this is Jonathan. Welcome to Love-A-Dram. This time I've got something a little bit different for you. It's a little bit of a longer video than I typically do, but I wanted to share an experience with you that I was very fortunate to be able to have. Back in October of 2022, I was able to go and visit the Springbank Distillery in Campbelltown and participate in their Barley to Bottle tour. And this tour is hands down the best whiskey tour I have ever done out of many, many tours of many distilleries in Scotland. This one is still at the top of the pile. To be fair, it was, almost a half a day. It was a 4-hour tour that took us into every single part of the distillery and one of the dunnage barrel houses, as well as a blending lab. We got to see every aspect of production, to touch the machinery and to hear firsthand from some of the former distillery managers who happened to be our tour leaders that day. And so I was very fortunate to have pieces of the living history of Springbank presenting all of the details of the production and how they make all their fantastic whiskeys, whether it's their own Springbank or the Hazelburn or the Longrow. All of the, fantastic. All of these are just known for being exceptional malts. And you're going to see why if you watch this video, because Springbank is kind of like, captured in time, if you will, maybe 50, 60, or even 100 years ago. Some of the machinery that they use there is over 100 years old. And if it breaks, there's really no way to replace it. So it's an incredible and very unique place, a unique distillery in all of the distilleries in Scotland. And yes, I am a little bit biased because it's one of my favorites. But I wanted to say a big thank you to all of the staff at Springbank. Everybody that we met there was just amazing. Wonderful, warm people, friendly, great senses of humor, and our guides were so knowledgeable, and it was one of the best things I've ever done. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you find value in these videos about different whiskeys from Scotland and something like this, which shows you the whole production process, please consider liking and subscribing and putting the bell on so you know when there's new videos. We sure appreciate that. Thanks for all your support, and please enjoy the Barley to Bottle tour from October of 2022 at Springbank Distillery in Campbelltown. Slán everyone.
And the top floor holds up to 10 tons of barley.
Wow.
So basically what we want to do is we want to trick the barley into thinking it's spring. So we want to steep it. Now the barley itself, we get 4 deliveries a month, and you'll not see them just now, but we've got 2 30-ton silos outside, barley bins outside, that we use to get the barley in. What we'll do is we'll say for this floor 13 tons, we'll take 13 tons and we'll put it into what we call a steep, which is just about on the next floor. We'll see that later on. And what we'll do is we'll steep it we'll fill it out, lay it out, level, the boys will jump in, level it out, and then we'll fill it with water from across the loch. And we'll steep it for 12 hours, and then we'll drain and rest it for 12 hours. And then we'll steep it again for 14 hours, and we'll drain and rest it for 4 hours, and then we'll put it out on the floor. Oh, so these guys will put it out on the floor. Oh, yeah, far too. Anyway, for this floor itself, it's a lot easier than the upper floor because the tank is a big cast iron tank. It's about 20 metres long by 1.5 metres by 3 metres wide. What they do is there's openings in the bottom of the tank, and all the actual, once it's drained, it all falls down the 3 piles in the corner there. They'll then get the wheelbarrows and shovels. Is there any of that? Yeah. The wheelbarrows and shovels, and they'll actually shovel all this floor and put it out. So it'll take 2 men, 6 hours? 6 hours to actually get the floor out, 13 tons. Now that 13 tons, because it's been soaked, has now become roughly about 22 tons. So they're putting that out themselves in a shift.
And that's the water straight from the lock is just cold water. It's not heated up before.
Nope.
So, yeah.
Nope. It's the loads of stone. Eh? It's the loads of stone in the summer. It's good. It's good for weight loss.
Smells sweet.
So basically, what we're trying to do here is as I say, kid the barley into germinate. To do that, what we do is we try and keep it at a constant temperature. So we're looking between 16 and 20 degrees C. You can see the thermometers through the floor. So you have to have some kind of control on the actual climate or the temperature itself. So during the summer, when it's really warm, we open the windows. And during the winter, when it's really cold, we shut the windows. So that's the temperature control. But basically, the guys will be watching this all the time. They'll be watching it so we don't want it to shoot, because if it shoots, that's expending sugars, starches. We don't want that because we need that to make the whiskey. This floor was put down on Monday, and it'll be lifted on Saturday. So it's 6 days.
Wow.
How many centimeters is ready the barley to grow?
We don't want it to go any more than the length of itself.
Oh.
Eh? Yeah, we want to get far. It's you can feel it's quite damp and it's plump. The barley itself comes into us at 12% moisture.
Oh, wow.
And then when it goes on the floor, it's 46% moisture.
This is getting ready now, huh?
Yeah.
It's almost there.
And when we put it through the kiln, we'll kiln it down to about 5% moisture. Ready to go into the mill.
How do you keep the mice out?
You don't.
Huh.
There's a lot
They just have
very,
a mouse's share.
No, there's a lot of very, very happy mice. They keep coming back. More.
How often you turn?
We turn that. This has been grubbed. We get the grubber.
Every 2 hours or?
Every 4 hours.
Every 4 hours.
24 hours a day.
And what is the goal?
It actually lifts the barley off the floor, and then the prongs sit through its side, aerates. So every 4 hours we'll turn, and then the next 4 hours, about 2 years ago, we discovered the electricity in Carlton. And that machine over there it looks like an old lawnmower.
Yeah.
You believe it or not, it's harder to use that than it is that. Because there's a motor on it, so it's heavier. There's no wheels. It's just the blade at the bottom.
There used to be wheels.
Oh.
Aye.
Was that because you were using it?
Can I try?
Do you want to try?
Can you fold?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You get the blade scraping along the
Scrape
bottom.
it. You've got to scrape it. You've got to hear it scraping.
What's that?
Well,
Yeah,
try
try
that.
You can hear it scraping the bottom of the floor. That's that keep on.
So that
You want that. Because if you're not actually getting to the bottom, it's actually riding on the barley itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear no noise.
Yeah,
So that's just
Ah,
riding
so-
the barley.
That's good.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Anyone else?
Can you give me?
Yeah.
Just keep it rolling.
That's it. That's it. Come back. Yep.
See, they missed a bit there.
I'll be back
It's
then.
funny actually. I asked them to start Monday.
Usually when there's some falls out the bucket, so the boys have got to go down there and tidy it up. And usually this is usually the mice having down here, so if you're frightened of mice, it's not the place for it.
No cats around?
That was my question. Like, where are the cats?
Usually there's the odd, so they're quite fat as well. They've got plenty to eat. So if you're tall, you know, it's or on your knees tidying up, so.
the 13 tons.
Yeah, they want.
10 tons. Oh, of course, you've got the top. See, I'm not introduction. So that's 10 litres per ton. Yeah. So you're getting less for your
4 liters
for all the work the guys do.
Every ton of barley makes 4.
Yeah, full bag.
What did he say? It was a ton of barley makes 400?
400 litres.
400 liters.
Roughly, yeah.
Wow.
And the local barley is 300, 310 litres per ton.
Okay.
Depends as well.
And that's dry weight. When you're saying 10 tons of, that's what's the dry weight ton.
If it gets dry too much in the kiln,
Yeah.
you'll not get so much off of that.
Uh-huh.
So that's how you've got to check temperatures and stuff.
Right.
If it's too dry, you'll not get the amount of smart off it.
Okay.
Who's reached the ladder in front of the coals? Name it. Who's reached the border? Never had that.
Age of the building and that, the floors are not capable of withstanding the weight now, so.
Especially not that.
Don't still have it. Don't cross that line. So you see, again, this is all Fortis equipment. Still working away to this day. And what happens is score it up here. They still, Joe, they still use it for the local bar.
Yeah, local barley we store up.
They still use the ogre.
Still use the organ and that along the
So that's it. No, you used to put it down in two piles. Go the length of the building itself. But as I say, the floors will not stand. They'll not stand the weight of the barley. And so if we make our way down here, this is where we store the local barley when it comes up. Goes all the way down the ogre and it comes round to the end here. And what you're seeing there is what Stuart was describing.
No, it's not you. That is not.
That's new.
Oh, aye. This is the barley comes down here from the bins outside.
Okay.
And then, as I say, it's down there, down that tubes. And if you want to close it, you come up here and close that, and then it'll go into the next one.
Right.
Oh, you're okay, you're okay. Right. So, yes. Aye, take you through. So the local barley. This actually goes round and actually throws the barley out, so it's not a pile. I don't know how old that is.
Dead bourbon.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's so
No, it's a
cool,
hard
actually.
fluent. We're using it.
What did you?
Well, dead bourbon.
Yeah, right.
That's why the whiskey tastes so good.
Yes, yes, that amongst other things.
Here, it's even more harder because normally our normal barley just comes in through the hatches, as Stuart's explained, but we have to then hand shovel it into where all you're seeing this plywood here. So we've got to shovel it down into the steep, go down to the steep, check if it's all right, level it off, and then we can fill it with the water. So it's even more work again when we're doing local barley.
So what is it? 23, 24 tons?
Yeah, also stored here. Goes from roughly just where the ladders are, just right up to the wall there. It's probably piled a bit this high. And then we just have to shovel it in down the holes.
So that's how the local barley is made. Or started. And they don't use it up here now. That's the only stuff they could actually bring up here. We're down the wall floor. The elevator comes up, takes it across here, down into this building. And the girl then takes it to its inside above the actual kiln itself, and it deposits it down into the kiln. The guys will then have to get in and actually spread it out again. So that's 13 tons that are working again. This time, it's the last time it's going to be as heavy. So, yeah, what this? If you've got backpacks on, I would take them off just now, just because it'll be bent double. See them near the thing. Bins are full of the what we call malt now. If it's come out the actual kiln, so it comes off the floor as green malt, goes into the kiln, and then once it's out the kiln, it's called malt. So these are the malt bins. And they hold between 22 tons of malt. We've got 10 bins. So at any one time we could have maybe 2,000 tons of malt ready to go. I don't know, this belt here is called the donkey. And what it does, it moves up. And as you can see from the actual openings at either side, we then deposit the malt into whatever bin we choose. And this moves the whole way up that track, right to the very end. But that's right. Sometimes the guys have actually got to get into the actual bins themselves to clear a blockage, which isn't as easy as it's cleaned on site.
They've
farm.
some machine up at the fair that partially cleans it.
Right.
So it used to be worse.
Oh,
So along the conveyor, and it gets into the kiln, okay? So once it's dried, this bit here, when it comes from the kiln, it comes up here and onto this belt. So we pull this down and it goes that way to get into the bins. There's a few adjustments needed through there, like handles, so that one bit goes to the kiln, and then when it's dried, it comes down here and then into the bins.
Dry peat, we use that to actually light the kiln, fire in the kiln, and that's our wet peat. That produces the smoke and the phenols to go through the actual malt itself. We get our dry peat from Peterhead, which is in the northeast coast of Scotland, up northeast, and the wet peat comes from Inverness, just above Inverness. And we use that, as I say, we use that to actually put the smoke in the phenols.
No local peat here in Campbelltown?
There is local peat, but it doesn't have ppm to actually give us
Where's this from? Sorry, I didn't hear.
This is from Peterhead, and that's from Inverness. Just while we're out here, I'll explain a couple of things. What you're seeing there is the back of the still house. So that red tube there, that's a shell and tube condenser. That's the factory. The fan itself just constantly keeping the water going through the condensers cool, chilled. That's all it's doing. So we'll make our way down to the kiln. Kiln here, and the kiln floor is just above us here. So feel the heat.
It's a nice place to work in the winter.
Oh yeah.
You can stand in. I don't know whether you can see there's a grill and the barley's in the top of that. So,
Okay.
as I say, it's a grill, and the barley will come through, but the heat will
The
go,
heat will
and
go
the
up.
smoke will
Okay.
go through that.
Oh. Wow, yeah, this is the place to work.
Yeah, so that's 5% moisture. The guys switched the fire off at 9 AM. They went and got their white suit on and their full face masks. They come in and they shovel into these two holes you're seeing over in the far corner here. And then it goes down, gets onto the bucket elevator system, goes back up to the loft, goes onto the belt again, and goes directed to the bins that you were just at there.
Wow. You could take a nice nap in here.
Yeah, it's warm.
Sweet.
It's user friendly, no batteries required. Information is easily updated. It's top of the range, as you can see. No expense spared.
I made that.
You made that.
Also a computer engineer.
And it does what it says in the tin. They've been making Kiln, Springbank, and they'll use the actual bins in rotation, so they'll actually use that one first for Springbank and then the next one, because that'll be the oldest. These are half full or full, these are empty. So that's what it says, it's quite easy to work. I mean, I could use it. So it must be quite easy. Now, there's only one situation where absolute panic sets in, and that's when we run out of chalk. But we have a solution because we use an external memory source. One of the guys will stand here and remember what it's going to put on the board, while another one runs down to town to actually get chalk. And then when he comes up, he'll download the information from the memory and put it on the board. So it's virtually guaranteed it's correct at all times. But that's the actual famous Springbank computer. So basically what we're going to do here is the malt is now going into this section going across.
And then dropped into this bucket elevator here. It goes all the way up and then drops in here, this wooden part you're seeing here. And up in here, it's a set of magnets, which will take away any metal that might potentially be in the barley. And then it drops down into the dresser. And inside there we've got the yeast there, and it just takes away any stones or particles that we're not wanting in the barley. We'll just sift it through like that, and then parts that we're not wanting will fall through the bottom. Once you get on the other side, you'll just see a wee tin. It gathers all the stones and any parts that we're not wanting we'll discard. And then just where we've seen the counter downstairs, it'll drop into the coop that I was talking about. And then once it reaches 40 kilograms, it'll drop and then it'll go down to the mill downstairs. If you want, you can climb up the ladders and you can see the magnets where it falls down.
It's absolutely solid. You'll not move it anyway, I'll tell you that. So the actual from the coop, as Joe says, it drops down into the top of the mill. We've got two sets of rollers. The top set actually just cracks open the husks, and the bottom set grinds it into what we call grist. And we're looking for 3.5 tons of grist for one mash. And the grist consists of 20% husks, 70% middles and 10% flour. So the flour will be down the bottom, but these particles you can see, that's the middles. That's the bits we want to make the actual whisky, because it contains the sugars and the starches. And what we'll do is, we don't separate it, it all goes as per, like that, into what we call the mash tun, that old mash tun there. And the mash tun's over 100 years old. It's over 100.
How old's the mill?
1940s, 80, 82, 83
Okay.
years. Okay. So once it's into the grist itself, it drops down into another ogre, and would you believe another bucket elevator up and across to what we call the grist bin, which is up the mash tun.
Get our start number, which is up here above our coop. So we'll just write down our start number, and then we'll do the amount of coops that we're due is 95, and each coop weighs 40 kilograms. and then that gives us our 3.8 tonne, which we're doing as a mash. And then we'll just write down the finishing number, and then the next guy that goes to start the next one will just copy the numbers on and we'll follow on. And as Finlay said, the malt comes through, and then it comes up through this bucket elevator and goes up to the top floor, which is where we're going to go now.
So we have 4 waters in Springbank. The first water's 17,000 litres at 63.5 degrees. It actually comes in higher than that, but when it mixes with the grist, it comes down to 63.5. So it's a gravity feed from the bin above. So the grist will pull down into this red pipe here, and we'll mix it with hot water from the white pipes, and that will go into the actual mash tun itself. So the first water, 17,000 litres at 63.5 degrees C. We'll actually turn, there's a rake and flow mechanism in there. We'll turn it twice, and then we'll start draining into that square cup there, which is called the underback. The what's produced there, what's produced from the mash itself is called wort, or sugary water. And from there, what we'll do is we'll pump it up to the washbacks. Okay. The second water, 6,000 litres at 72 degrees C. Again, we'll put the mechanism on twice, we'll wait for a quarter of an hour, and then we'll start doing the same thing. We'll decant it into the underback, and then pump it up to the washbacks. So between that 17,000 litres and the 6,000 litres, we aim to get roughly 22,000 litres of wort, sugary water. The third water is 15,000 litres at 82 degrees C, so we're getting the last of the sugars out of it. And what we'll do, we don't pump it up, or we don't take it up to the washbacks. What we'll do is we'll actually pump it up to the hot liquor tanks, or the hot water tanks. And that'll become part of the first water of the next mash, because there'll be some sugars in it. And so I'll give it a wee kick start. And the fourth water, the 6,000 litres, and it's just basically a cleaning mechanism for the actual mash tun itself. We'll make a porridge out of it, and then we'll pump it up to a tank outside there. That tank up there. What we'll do is we'll drain it, 2 stainless steel pipes. We'll drain the liquid off, and we'll put that to the hot liquor tanks and the hot water tanks, and that'll become part of the second water of the next mash. So we're reusing over and over again. There's no trying not to waste anything at all. What's left is called draft. So up there will be all the husks, and that'll be about that deep. They'll be that deep. And the guys will get up, jump in, and they'll shovel it. The farm will have his trailer here, and the guys will shovel it down into the trailer and take it away for feed for the animals. Okay.
How often do they cut?
Oh, they're here nearly every day when we're mashing. When we're mashing.
Do they have to pay for that?
Yes.
Farmers? Yeah.
Yeah.
They get-
A minimal cost.
And they explain it in
No, I know.
Oh, no. Isn't it paid to look in?
I'll just take you around the side here, yeah. Come round this way. Just watch your head.
Okay.
That's the rakes, and the ploughs down the bottom, scraping the bottom of the mash tun itself. So the first water, 17,000 litres, will come right to the very top here.
They've got nothing in it now.
No, they're not mashing at the moment. When's the next mash, Joe?
we're just due to start it now, then.
All right,
Michael's just waiting for me, and then we're ready to start.
right, okay.
Ooh, for the paddle.
Yeah, so this is just we're a
That's
little bit bored with it.
It's a very important piece of machinery. That.
No, as Finlay said, when it's filled right up with the 17,000, it comes right to the top. So what we do is we just move the barley away,
Yeah.
just to see the actual water level. So the
Yeah.
barley will be slightly higher, but we just brush it away just to make sure we get the water right up to the very
That's
top.
really cool.
Yeah.
But the guys are really good at table tennis as well.
I bet.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's really
Did you make that as well, Stuart? No.
But, measurements for the water tanks. Well, lead, a string, and a piece of wood floating in the water tank itself. So as the more water goes into the tank, the weight goes down, because if the wood's put to the top, so it gets down, and when it gets emptied, of course the woods get further down, so it actually goes up again. Again, no expense spared. That's what it says in the thing. There's only one anomaly here. I've been explaining everything in litres. This is in gallons.
Oh, wow.
I was wondering how, yeah, some
Why
stuff's
is
in
that?
kilos, some stuff's in tons.
This is a
some stuff-
Springbank.
Oh.
Okay.
That's just what they do.
You guys must be good with maths.
So that's up to date way of measuring what's in the tank.
Did you explain about the
Oh no,
war?
the war.
The war? No.
Aye, war.
Aye, no, you've done it. Like the first and second war. Aye.
Yes.
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 I've got really keep it out.
I never say that. There you go.
In the woods, it's gravity. Okay, in here. Now you can see the hole here. You don't want it coming in too quick, so you don't want any ducts or the grist coming in. So when you maybe get it to the here, you start the pump. So the trick is you keep it as high here, coming out of there, when you're pumping it up to the washbar. So sometimes it can overflow, or sometimes it can drop. The trick is just to with the valves here, open and close them so that you keep it at a level for as long as this the liquid can go in the master.
What would that be a match? 10 hours.
10 hours roughly, yeah.
Roughly 10 hours. Not a bad.
Little cycle.
So these are our washbacks. They're all made of Scandinavian goatskin larch. This one was put in just at the start of the year because the previous one was leaking. So basically what we're going to do here is fermentation. So the wort is actually coming up around about 50-60 degrees C, and we have to get it down to below 33 degrees C because we're going to introduce yeast, and yeast dies at 33 degrees C. So we actually take it down to between 16 and 20 degrees C just to make sure there's no chance of it killing the yeast. First of all, we'll go through that machine there. It's called a paraflow, and that's a series of plates, cold water on one side and the wort on the other side, and that cools it down to between 16 and 20 degrees. We then pump it through these stainless steel pipes. I don't know whether you can see in, maybe this one, it falls from the bottom. So that's it, the hole down there. So we pump it in from the bottom. Once there's about a metre of wort in the actual washback, we'll introduce 75 kilograms of yeast. And the yeast just goes crazy, starts tumbling, multiplying. Then it actually attacks the oxygen. And when the oxygen is depleted, it goes for the sugars. And that produces carbon dioxide and alcohol. Fermentation period is about 72 to 100 hours or 5 days. It's one of the longer fermentations in the industry itself. But that's, again, Springbank. So that's what the way we do it. At the end of that time, what we've got is what we call the wash, which is a heavy beer, very sour, and it's about 6-7% ABV. And from there, we take the wash to be distilled. The actual ages of these, I think they're between 25 and 35-year-old. I mean, that one's only not even a year old, but the rest of them are all 25, 35 years. The darker the actual wood, the older it is.
All larch.
All Scandinavian goatskin larch. After distillations take place, when it's the actual washbacks are empty, we'll actually close the lids and we'll pass superheated steam through it to actually clean it.
Oh, yeah, ready.
I think it's like 40 years. I mean, I don't know. Imagine if one that's longer. Generally around about 40 years.
What kind of yeast are you using?
It's just an M-type yeast. I don't know. I'm not into yeast, but
They haven't kept the same culture going they haven't kept the same culture of yeast going since they started here.
I wouldn't imagine so. No, I wouldn't imagine so. See, again, we get that from the east coast of Scotland as well. That's where they produce it. So from here, what we do is we take the wash and we put it into the wash charger, which is a red. You'll see it when you go out. It's a red container on your right hand side as you go down the steps.
Our wash cell, and then low wine still number 1 and low wine still number 2. The first process is we want to get one of our washbacks into the wash still. So what we do is we pump the wash from the washback up to this red tank here, which is called the wash charger. That will hold one full washback, which is roughly 20,000 litres. And then we want to put it from the wash charger into our still. Our still capacity is only 12,000 litres, so we have to split it into 2 halves. And we'll put the first half in, and we've got a direct heat source beneath, and inside the still we've got coiled as well, which has steam running through the coil to also heat up the wash. Then what will happen, it will boil up, and eventually the alcohol will start to give off his vapour and go up and go through the line arm. And as Finlay said outside, he showed you the condenser. So the vapour goes through the condenser, which is getting the cold water going through it, and then turns back into a liquid. And as you can see, it's coming in through that blue pipe into the spirit tube, and it's now coming in as low wine now. So once we finish our first half of our washback, we then do our second half of the washback. The exact same process again, boil it up, and then it comes in as low wine again. So at this point, we've now got enough low wine to do our run on our low wine still. So what we do is our low wine is stored underneath a hand under here. And then we pump up to this blue charger, which is the paint charger. And then we'll drop it into low wine still number 1. And this is only heated up by steam coils inside. It doesn't have any direct heat source beneath. And it's the same process again, boil up, and then the alcohol turn into vapour, go up through the line arm. And the only difference between the low wine still number 1 is going through the worm still. Pretty more proper contact. And it will then turn into a liquid and come in through to the spirit safe paint. And we've only got 1 run, so we've done 2 runs of our wash, which just creates 1 run for our low wines number 1. And then once it's run out down to about 65%, we'll run it right down to 1% alcohol, and then it's stored in this paint tank here. We'll pump it up to the low wine paint receiver and drop it into low wine still number 2. So that's now been distilled twice, and it's going to be distilled a 3rd time. And we'll take some of our low wine from our next run and mix it in with the paint, giving it that 2.5 times. So some of it's been distilled 2 times, some of it's been 3 times. I think the actual figure is like 2.867, but they call it 2.5. So it's the same again. It's just steam coiled inside, coil it up, the vapours will go up through the line arm, and then this is just a normal condenser, the same as the one still. I'll come back into the spirit tape. We just go to the spirit tape now. I'll come back into the pipe and come out into this pot. So this is where we're going to take our spirit. And you've got 3 cuts. Your heads, which is the part we're not wanting, the middle cut, and the tails. So as soon as it comes in, we'll time it for 45 minutes, and we'll run it off into this pot. And this pot will go to the faints. So all that will be stored up, come in roughly about 79% ABV, and we'll run it for 45 minutes. When we reach our 45 minutes, what we do is we just turn this arm, and the spout will turn it into this, which is now going to be our spirit. And then that will be stored in the intermediate spirit receiver. You can see Springbank will be in about 76%. We want to run that right down to 60%. And then once we reach 60%, we turn it back into the faints and then run that down to 1%. and we'll reuse that on our next spirit run. And the way we test what percentages we've got is we've got sight glasses here, and we can see they've all got different hydrometers in them, and we also measure the temperature. So that's how we determine what percentage of alcohol we've got. And then from there, we pump from the intermediate spirit receiver through into the filling store and then main spirit receiver. What you're thinking now is Springbank at 68.5%. That's telling us it's below 55% now. So the next time we go to test it, we'll just use this side glass, which goes from 3% down to 1%, and it's 1% where we want to cut it off at.
So other spirit states I've seen are always locked.
Yeah, so this should be locked.
Okay. Is it just for the tour you've opened it?
So we actually have it open because we always go in and this thermometer will sit in the sight glass. But the main reason is like when we're on back shift or night shift, the manager has the key. So, you know, when they phone someone at 3 in the morning to ask them to come take the tea down, so it is meant to be locked.
Okay.
You can see everything else like on the tanks here. Everything is locked.
Yeah.
So customs were to come down here,
That's funny.
we would need to. I think the spirit safe itself is like 110 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was actually manufactured by Robert Armour and Sons, which was a Campbelltown company 110 years ago.
Wow.
Huh.
The spirit goes into the intermediate spirit receiver, and from there we pump it into this spirit receiver here. So what we'll do is it'll be coming in about 69-70% ABV, and what we want to do is get it down to 63.5% ABV. So we need to introduce water from Crosshill Loch, but in this case what we'll do is we'll put it through charcoal filters. Gavin will come across with a hydrometer, take a measurement, and he can tell how much water is going to be put into the actual receiver itself to get it down to 63.5. We'll then actually start filling the barrels. Now the three main barrels that we use are a barrel which is 200 litres, a hogshead which is 250 litres, and a butt which is 500 litres. There are other firkins, quarter casks, half casks, quart pipes. There will be different sizes, but the three main that we use are those three: a barrel, hogshead, and a butt. For Springbank we use it 60-40, 60% bourbon, 40% sherry. We can get a bourbon cask from America for about £100. Sherry cask from Europe will cost us up to £1,000. The sherry industry, I believe, is in a right downward curve at the moment. So what they're doing is they're actually maturing the sherry in the barrels and then throwing it down the drain and selling the barrel onto various other distillers. So basically what they will do at the start, they'll actually stencil it. We'll use the stencil here. J&A Mitchell & Company Limited, 2022 Springbank single malt. This will be the cask number, and once we establish what the litres are, we'll put the litre in here. This is a B barrel, and a B barrel is our second fill, or second juice of the actual barrel itself. So we have an A, a B, and a C. A barrel is the first fill, B barrel is the second fill, and I'll explain over in the warehouse what a C barrel is.
Where do you source your bourbon barrels in the States?
Just any
and all distilleries? None in particular?
None in particular, no. Wild Turkey, no, that's one of them.
Okay.
They don't use them once.
Yeah.
Well, that was supposed to be going to change. Apparently there was a hue and cry about from the manufacturers.
Hmm.
So the legislation's not went through.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
So what we'll do is we'll actually roll the barrel in and we'll weigh it empty. We'll then take it over here and we'll fill it. This is with this gun. We'll put it in and it's got sensors on it so it won't overfill. So we'll start putting the actual spirit in. Once it cuts off, we'll take that back, put it into the juice again, and this is a burlap or hessian and a poplar tree bung. So once that actually will expand, the bung will expand and make it a really tight seal. We'll then roll it across and weigh it again. And the difference between the empty and the full weight, we'll be able to calculate how many litres is in the actual barrel itself. Then they'll just roll it out to the front of the office there, and a forklift truck will come and take it away to one of the 9 warehouses we've got. We've got 3 rack warehouses and 6 tonnage warehouses.
All on Campbelltown.
All here.
All here on
All
Spring.
here on
Okay.
site. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing goes off site. Nothing goes off site. So we're going to take you across the warehouse 3, which is the dunnage. Any questions on that at all? No?
I'll bring you whiskies that you bring in.
Yep. Yep. Before it goes into the barrel. So the four criteria for making whiskey: it must be distilled in copper still. It must be matured, or maturation must take place in an oak barrel. It must be at least 3 years and a day old, and it must be above 40% ABV. If it goes below 40, it's a spirit, it's not whiskey.
Breakfast.
So we've got across the warehouse. In a dunnage, we only start them 3 high because the weight of the top barrels are taken by the bottom barrels, so we don't want to have that much weight on them. In a rack warehouse, all the steelworks take the weight of the barrels. As I said earlier on, we've got between 18,500 and 19,000 barrels on site. The oldest barrel in here is a 1990. So we also use different types of barrels. This is Chateau Lafite barrels, but the oak. Same. We use Sauterne, Pinot Noir. We use Sherry Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez.
Jimenez, no.
Yeah. Jimenez, we don't get stuck there. We also do, if you heard the Cadden heads, we do maturation for Cadden heads. This is a 2009 Jura.
Are those One-Lits and Kiltikins over there? The little ones?
The little ones might very well be. Might very well be. So I've said there's 3 types of barrel. The C barrel has got nothing to give. It's been used twice. No taste, no coloration. So for Springbank, as I say, 10-year-old will be 60-40. They'll take 60% barrels and 40% sherry barrels, bourbon barrels and 40% sherry barrels. Take them over to the bottling plant. There's a large vat there. They'll empty all the barrels into the vat, give it a stir and let it settle. And that's called the marriage of the whiskies. That's the whiskies getting together. They'll then take the C barrels and they'll fill the C barrels with whiskey and take it away to another warehouse for a 6-month honeymoon period. Far too long. Far too long. So that's the marriage and the honeymoon. After the 6-month honeymoon period, they'll take it back to the bottling plant and they'll put it into the vat again and they'll put it on the large bottling line that we have. We also have a semi-automatic bottling line, small semi-automatic, because people still have barrels here. So they can get 2 or 3 bottles out of the actual cask itself. The black on the wall, we're not being unclean. It's actually a mould that eats the angel share. So the evaporation out the barrels attaches itself to the walls and this mould actually eats it. I think it's 32 letters long, scientific name, can't remember. Exactly.
There's something Jimenez, no.
Anyway, my next life I'm coming back is a mole. I'll let the whiskey come to me.
Yeah. Good plan.
You can see it outside as well.
Aye.
Aye.
You see, it's amazing. See if you're going through Dumbarton, see the
Aye,
warehouses there.
aye.
All the trees are black.
Aye. That's
All
just
the
what it
trees
is,
are
aye.
black. Yeah.
How do you get a forklift in here?
No problem.
Really?
Aye.
Man, skilled driver. It's pretty
But
tight.
it'll be one of these ones at the side. There'll be a side lift.
Okay.
It's not.
See, there's a wee machine that two folk can push.
Oh, okay.
And obviously,
So not a big.
No,
Yeah.
load them up, you know, and he clips them up.
Mhm.
Just push it on, you know.
Okay.
So is there any questions to that at all? No? Well, ladies and gents, that's the end of the tour. It's at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll go and either get the production manager or the operations assistant to continue your day. And if you move down, I mean, you can go and wander down to the bottom if you want, but halfway down you'll see there's some glasses set out. So that's where you'll be congregating just in the next 5-10 minutes. Okay. So have a rest, get rest of your day. Have a good day.
Wow.
See?
Thank you very much.
Right.
Fresh sherry. That's that. So now we'll give you a Springbank 31-year-old. You grab yourselves a wee glass, and we'll get you a nice whiskey. Okay.
Anybody
It's
here
not
younger?
too strong, very mellow. It's 41.5% alcohol. So complements Springbank started very well, I feel. So we'll let you see what you Excuse me, as I say, this isn't part of your tour, but this is my favourite. This is Hazelburn 19-year-old. Fresh bourbon, 47% alcohol. So I think this is real creamy and buttery and beautiful.
I do have a question. Are those some of the smaller barrels? There's like 3 of them over there.
Yeah.
Are those left over from the Runlets and Kilterkin series?
No, that was a different batch.
Okay.
That's actually, if my mind's right, Scott Springbank made a batch of them for cladding heads with Glentochers.
Okay.
We recast them in there, just a sales sort of thing for selling.
And today we're going to, this final part of the barley to bottle experience is for you to blend your own special Springbank editions, take away and enjoy them at home. So you're going to leave here with a 70cl Springbank, unique to you basically. There's a couple of things that you have to abide by. You can't just, I mean, we have all of these different cask samples here for you, from first fill bourbon, through to refill Sauterne, refill port, followed by refill rum, refill sherry, and then a first fill sherry cask as well. So these casks were bottled some years ago, I think, entirely so that we could do this blending session. So very different cask maturations, single casks, but in order to make a whisky, any sort of whiskies that we release, all of our single malts, with the exception of single casks, which we don't do all that often, are vatted malts essentially. So you're going to have the opportunity to be the blender today and sort of bring together your own recipe using different cask types and maturations to make your perfect Springbank. And you'll find that probably every single one of you will have something in mind that's completely different and what is your favourite Springbank. So you get people that love the first fill sherries, these really dark ones at the end, and then you get people that are the sort of purists, if you like the bourbon, and the ones in between, a bit more unusual maturations. But because these sample bottles here, so what you have in the back is a 100ml, a 500ml sample of each of these. So it's from left to right, that's how it goes. And then you've got a smaller test tube in front, which is the same. So if you want to try those first, familiarise yourselves with the different additions. They just look lighter in colour because it's a smaller amount, they're all the same. So familiarise yourself with each of the different maturations and then maybe have a think about how you might incorporate them. You can use your little Pyrex beakers there to sort of scale everything down and try and make a miniature version, taste it, see if you like it, add a little bit more, taste it again, add water as well sometimes, but you probably want to take away a cask strength and you can wash it down at home. Because these are 500 mils and you're going to fill one of our 70cl Springbank bottles, the only rule is you have to use at least 2 different maturations and combine them, otherwise you're just taking away a single cask that we've made. And you'll have a half-empty bottle as well. So combine.
This is the rum cask. 6, almost. Call it there.
Okay.
Goes up to the next.
Yeah, just find it in as much in as possible. It's you.
How'd I do for the pour? Does it usually go there?
Yeah, that looks about perfect here. The big sort of filling.
There's some more drops in.
Let's go in this one.
So you can pop your cork on there.
Ah, brilliant.
That's it. But do you want?
Okay, I'll shut it from the edge.
There we are. Perfect. And work out from there.
100% can
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, sorry, actually, we need to check your strength.
Oh.
Do that first. Okay, so this is, there's a wee part here where you can put on your strength.
Okay.
So you just take this as at like 0. So we're at 0 now, so get rid of all the water. And then you just pop that in here and you can pump that up a few times. It should read your strength. Okay. So we've got 50.
53.
53. Pretty much.
We'll call it 53?
53, yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
And
It's pretty good.
pour that back in so I don't waste
don't
any of
waste
my...
it.
Barn up.
There, seems to be
Done.
perfect.
Oh wow.
That's it.
Look at that.